today. My name is Sarah Walworth, and I am here live today with crochet designer Dominique Calvillo. Is that correct? I got it right?
Yes, got it. Yes.
And I think she has another special someone with her
I do, but he's gonna be sleeping on my
asleep in
lap.
a minute.
Not trouble.
Oh, baby
Cute.
puppy Bowie, and Bowie is here with us too. And to thank you for coming, Dominique. I'm
Thank
super
you for
excited to
having
have
me.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for everyone also for joining us live. If you have any questions, throw them into the chat wherever you are watching from. So let's just get right into it. Today, Melissa was supposed to be, but she was unable to join us live, unfortunately. So it's me hosting, and I have not met you before. So this is going to be an exciting opportunity for me to learn more about you and your brand. So first question is, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about the designer behind Namaste and Crochet.
Yeah, hi. My name is Dominique Calvillo, and I'm from Los Angeles. I grew up in kind of a very artistic environment. My parents are musicians, and I just come from a big family of artists, so it was kind of inevitable that I would, end up in the arts. And I've kind of had a few incarnations as an artist. I started in the music industry and then became a stylist, and then ended up doing my own fashion brand full time. So yeah, that's kind of been my trajectory. And yeah, and now I'm a dog mom. So that's really all that matters to me at this point. Like, I don't really think about anything else anymore. So
Being a dog mom can be full time.
yeah, it's like everything else has fallen out of my head since I got this puppy. So that's, yeah, that's me.
Yes. So, how did you learn to crochet? Like, how did you get started into this craft, this handcraft?
Yeah, so I learned when I was little. I think I was like 6 years old, and my mom and my grandma taught me. And like I said, I have a huge family. So my dad's one of 12 kids, and I was like one of the younger ones of like 30 cousins. But somehow my grandma still found time to teach me, and she brought me to her crochet club. And so that's how I initially got into it. But then I started to take it really seriously around like 4 or 5 years ago, because it was really helping me when it comes to like my mental health. And it just gave me a way to meditate and to calm down. And then, I kind of got obsessed with it and then started a crochet line. So yeah, that was the process.
I think that's the trajectory for a lot of us who come into this, into handmaking, is we do it for the mental health, for the meditation, and then we find out, oh, I want more, and we end up starting businesses in various forms.
Right.
So, what is one of your favorite projects that you've crocheted, and why is it your favorite?
I never know how to answer this question because there's like at least three designs that come up. But I think one of my favorite ones was a custom wedding dress for this bride who was getting married in Panama on this island that was like known for its pearls. So she wanted the entire dress like covered and beaded with like pearls and little rhinestones. And that was really just so much fun to make. And it kind of really expanded me creatively. And then the wedding photos were stunning, and they ended up getting featured in Brides magazine. So that one's kind of like my top favorite one, I would say.
How long did you hand make it yourself, or did you have someone knit it or crochet it for you?
No, I make everything myself pretty much. I work with a manufacturer in Brazil sometimes if I get like a lot of orders, but yeah, but I hand make everything pretty much.
How long did it take you to make a gown like that? How long does it take?
I mean, the actual gown part, if I've done a design before, the actual gown won't take me that long. Maybe like, a week. I can just kind of get it done if I'm familiar with the pattern. But the beading takes a really long time. So that can take, anywhere from a few weeks to months sometimes. So it really just depends on what it is.
So Let's talk a little bit about your design process, which interests us the most in the Tech Editor Hub, who are designers and people interested in becoming tech editors and tech editors. How would you say that your design process has changed from the beginning of when you first decided to be a designer compared to now?
Oh man. I mean, something that hasn't changed is I'm always down to unravel. Like if I am not getting it to be the way that I want it, I will rip it out and start over.
That's a
Um,
beautiful part of what we do is you can redo it.
it stresses out my friends and family so much though when I'm like, nope, gotta it's terrible, gotta start over. But it really depends. I mean, I've evolved a lot as a designer even this past year. I've like really changed my style. But as far as like my process, if I'm like taking something and turning it into a pattern, I really want to make it at least a few times. I came at this whole world from a very different perspective. I've never even like I can, but I've never really followed anybody else's patterns. So like the world of patterns was so intimidating to me. I had people reaching out for patterns like every day, but I was like, no way, I'm never going to write patterns because they're like way too technical. I am not like a math person, I'm not a grammar person. So they're just completely outside of my skill set. Um, but thankfully now that I have like Mel in my life and people that can like help me make this stuff happen, it's become a lot easier. But if I'm going to turn in something into a pattern, I at least like to make it like you know 3-4 times before I start to write it down, because my process is so trial and error and so freestyle, that it's like the first time I make it, I want it to like look the way I want it to look, and then I want to see if I can like recreate it. And like if I can do that, then I can actually like write the pattern out, and then I send it to Mel for like editing and grading. um, but yeah, I'm definitely not one of those designers that like will write the pattern as they're designing it. Like no way.
Wow. So it's quite involved for you. It's not a slapdash like write the pattern, then make it and be done. You really put some time and thought into it.
Yeah, especially because like patterns are not like they're just not in my wheelhouse. Like even following them, I haven't done much of that. So it's like, I really want to be familiar with something before I try to put it on paper and like make sure that I've got it down.
So the next question I have for you, probably we already know the answer because you mentioned your tech editor, Mel, who's Melissa Metzbauer, who's my colleague also. But how essential is tech editing to your design process? I
She,
mean,
I,
for creating patterns for people to work on their own.
oh, I mean, I couldn't do what I'm doing without tech editors. And I think that it is so beautiful to have, the people that think differently, because, because like tech editors are so good at what they do, I can really focus on what I do and like thrive in that. But I think that if I had to do my own tech editing and grading, like there's no way, like I just wouldn't I wouldn't be doing this. So it is absolutely essential.
So you not only have tech editor correct the text, like to make sure that the stitch counts are right and that everything's going to be the shape it's supposed to be in the end. You also have a tech editor size the pattern, like make it multiple sizes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really a huge part of the design process then, to have that help behind the scenes.
Yeah, and she's so great because we'll like test different things out, and as we're like making it the different sizes, you want it to complement every body shape the same way. So it's really fun to just be able to like, you know, tell her like, oh, I want the shape a little bit more this way or whatever, and then she'll be able to adjust all of the math to make that happen, and that is just like amazing to me.
That's awesome. So you're able to, like you said, focus on being a designer because you know in the end someone's going to be checking and making sure that it works.
Right, yeah, and I'm very cued into like, making sure like getting the fit right, like the way that it falls, the way that it drapes. So like that side of everything, like I'm very on it. But for her to translate that into math is just like so helpful.
So what would you say to other, maybe someone who's thinking about becoming a crochet designer? Would you recommend that they get a tech editor, or would you say work it out first for yourself?
I mean, I think it depends on the person. Sometimes people, they want to know how to do things in their business. You know how this is, but when you have a business, you end up wearing so many different hats.
Right.
And there are certain things that you want to delegate and certain things that you don't. And then maybe sometimes you want to learn how to do something before you delegate it so that you know, like, if the person's doing a good job or not.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I would say like figure out what you can delegate. Like, if you're going to start a business, you're going to have to do web design, you're going to have to do email marketing, you're going to have to do like social media. So if there are any of those things that you're like, oh, I absolutely like, this is precious to me, I feel certain types of way about this, like do that on your own, but delegate what you don't need to do. And for me, like tech editing was one of those things where it was like, I don't feel like I need to go through this learning curve. I feel like I can just hire somebody that like knows what they're doing and focus on the things that like I know are in my wheelhouse. So
Right.
yeah, that
And
was nice.
I've heard of other people mention this as stay in your genius zone.
Mm,
So, in other words, stay where you thrive. And thriving very much for you is designing, to
yeah,
have somebody else do the mathy parts, which is
yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely. Yeah.
So let's anybody who's joined us live, if you guys have a question for Dominique, feel free to throw it into the chat and we'll ask her. Um, so let's talk a little bit about business. What other paths does your crochet business have? Like, how do you make crochet business work for you?
Right. I mean, I think right now, my number one source of income, thankfully, has been pattern sales, which is, such a blessing. So that's great. And then I've also like really delved into like the LA fashion scene out here.
Mhm.
So I have all of my inventory in a showroom right now. And basically what a showroom is like a place where designers like put their things so that stylists can pull them out for like photo shoots, videos, whatever. So I've been with them for almost a year, and this past year I've gotten like, tons of magazine placements, like TV placements. So that's been really cool. And then, I've gotten like a few like celebrity clients through them. And yeah, so I'm really trying to figure out how to like, you know, balance the like fashion industry side with the more like crafting side of my business. But I think that both are really important to me, and finding that balance is important to me. So yeah, I'm getting ready to do LA Fashion Week this coming March. So that'll be, it'll be fun. It's always like super chaotic, and it's its own adventure every single time. So we'll see how it goes.
Fashion week anywhere is like that.
Yeah, it's total chaos. And it's like, I think most of the time when I've done a show, like I don't even know that my runway has started. And it's like it's like over before you know it, and they just like push you out onto the runway and they're like, go walk the runway. What's happening?
What's happening? Where am I?
It's crazy. So but yeah, I think that ultimately what I would love to do with my business is I already work with a manufacturer in Brazil that works with women that are from, like smaller villages that, know how to crochet and want to make a living doing this. So my ultimate goal is to hire and support women like that, and
Mhm.
keep this art alive, and
Right.
to really like empower artisans is my ultimate goal. So I'm hoping that this year I can get into some stores and start taking orders, and giving these women some more work, and
Mhm.
hopefully, yeah, that's what I would love to do.
That's exciting. And for people in our audience who are mainly knitters, crochet is a yarn art form that has to be done by hand. You can't translate it to a machine like you can with knitting. So, and I've got that correct, right, Dominique?
Yeah. So it has to be hand done.
It has to be handmade. So, would you say that crochet has changed your life, and how has it changed your life?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, not only from like the mental health aspect, and also it just being such a fun creative outlet. But like obviously it's now my full-time job, so that's, that affects my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but no, it's totally changed my life. And even just kind of creating this community, like I with my brand and my community aspect of things, I really love to focus on like diversity and inclusion and like body positivity. So even just like connecting with people online in with those topics, and then creating kind of a community that's very encouraging to one another. And a lot of the people that follow me are very much about like art therapy and mental health. So just making those friendships and creating that community has been a really big has had an impact on my life.
It's amazing what a hook and yarn can do.
Right? It's pretty magical.
The ripple effect of it's
Yeah,
pretty amazing.
it's much bigger than just sitting with your yarn. But it doesn't have to be, if that's all that it is, that's beautiful too. And yeah.
So, what are your future dreams for Namaste and Crochet? Which, by the way, is one aspect of your business. This is the
Yeah.
pattern creation part.
Yes. Yeah. So I had to divide my business into two this past year to like be like, this is my designer business, and then this is my like DIY business. For the Namaste and Crochet DIY side, my goal is just to like, I really want to make like more like beautiful size inclusive patterns. I really love to kind of shake up what people think of when they think of crochet fashion.
Yay!
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been a part of the bridal industry for a really long time, so I think I tend to design like more like formal wear kind of things. And a lot of people make my designs to wear at their weddings and like their kind of important events in life. And so that's like really special to me. And I think I just want to kind of continue on like making dress patterns that are like totally customizable, that like for every part of your body you can customize it to get the perfect fit, and then to like feel fabulous in what you make. And I just want to keep doing more of that, and like empowering people to like make things for themselves that they feel fabulous in, and that they want to like wear for their big moments, and also be like, oh thanks, I made this, like that's my dream.
That's inspiring for me too. A lot of what we try to do at the Tech Editor Hub is tell people you can't have a small size range.
Yeah.
There has to be, you have to take into consideration there are all types of body shapes and sizes,
Yeah.
and a pattern can't be limiting to that. Everyone deserves to have fabulous clothes that they've made
Yes,
themselves.
absolutely.
So that's wonderful. Well, thank you for being with me here today and answering all my questions. It's really exciting to meet you. I'm going to put up your website so people can go find a pattern or two. It's a namasteandcrochet.com, which is pretty straightforward. I wish you the very best. Tell us what's on your hook now. What are you working on? What's the design
Oh
for?
man, I just started I'm doing the Hobie No Shades of Grey challenge right now. So I got like, I think like 6 different colors of this like really sparkly yarn called Flash It that I'm like totally obsessed with. And I'm gonna do this very like 70s inspired like flower child hippie dress. So all day long I'm gonna be making little flower motifs. So I'm very excited about that.
I can't wait to see that. And if people want to follow you on Instagram, it's the same, Namaste and Crochet.
Yeah, Namaste and Crochet. Yep.
Well, I hope to see more exciting things from you in the future. Thank you for being here today and for talking to my audience about what it's like to be a crochet designer and work with a tech editor.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Super
having
happy.
me. Yeah, anytime. I'd love to chat.
All right. Take care of yourself. Bye,
You too.
everyone.